At the KSMO studios, it's time for our sit down with our friends from Intercounty Electric, and Heather has meandered her way over.
I have.
And she is here ready to go. And good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. It was a beautiful drive over this morning.
Was it not nice?
It was nice.
No
Yeah.
sun in your eyes?
None. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, usually you're fighting the sun all the way over. So
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So good. Well, good to have you. And I hope you've had a good month of August already, but it's
Yeah.
hard to believe that we're this far in.
I know.
Fairs, festivals, busy time for Intercounty, isn't it?
It is. Yep. And busy time for people in general, I think. Finishing up summer vacation, trying to fit those last minute things in, getting the kids ready for back to school, which is just crazy to think about.
I'm just going to say, ouch. Yeah,
I've got one starting high school and one starting college, 2 freshmen. Crazy.
How time flies.
I
right?
know. Yeah.
Wasn't long ago they were still in grade school.
In elementary, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the good days, right?
They were nicer then.
Yeah. Okay, we won't go
I
there.
was more right more often than
Or you mean maybe they listened more.
they listened more.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of the above. All
Yeah,
of those things.
Yeah. Not a lot more reliant on mom.
Yeah, they're just really smart now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. At
Yeah.
15, we all get smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
very
that's
good.
what it is.
And then we get really stupid when we get older. Isn't that the truth?
It's crazy how that works, ain't it?
Yeah, it really is. We know everything at 15 and know nothing at 30, but that's all right. That's
Yeah.
okay. Good. Very good. All right. Well, obviously, as we mentioned, a lot of fairs, festivals, things. Intercounty is really involved in those. I know they were over at our FFA 4-H livestock auction, as they always are every single year. And of course, we really appreciate all the support that Intercounty
thank you.
gives. And I know that not just here in Dent County, but all the different counties that Intercounty serves. And you guys are just great supporters of the kids and the work that they do. You know, and tip of our cap to you guys, because you got a lot of area to cover.
Yes, we serve parts of 10 counties, so it's a pretty good size service territory. And I think the last fair we were at was the Phelps County. That was a couple Saturdays ago, and we were able to support those 4-H kids over there too. So always good to be able to be involved, especially good to be able to support those kids. I mean, we've got our youth tour program where we send the kids to DC and to Jeff City, but this is another way we can kind of support the youth, and it's good to see those kids work hard and supporting them. I mean, it's one of those fun things we get to do.
Sure. And again, you're out there in the middle of another crowd of people. We're Intercounty. If somebody has a question, they can always ask a representative of Intercounty, and if they don't have the answer, which may be very likely they don't have the exact answer, they will definitely take it back to the office and get the right people on it to get you the answer you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
It works that way. It is actually pretty cool if you see somebody and you say, hey, I have this issue. That's fine. They don't run from you. And that's a neat thing, Sometimes you go to some of these places and they know you're coming, and they just keep moving away.
The eyes get cast down and they shuffle away fairly quickly.
Yeah, you've experienced that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. But anyway, again, I wanted to personally thank Intercounty, because I know that they have diligently supported the Salem and Dent County 4-H and FFA livestock auction by the live broadcast that we do, as well as on the radio. They were one of the very first sponsors we ever had do it. So again, tip of our cap to their support of our kids here in the county. So we wanted to do that. So okay, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, Stan's like, I'm going home.
No, I'm not going home. But anyway. But it's not a trying time, but it's a different time for a lot of us right now. We're watching utility prices go up. We're watching demand of different things become harder to find. We just know that Intercounty is experiencing the same thing. I think we talked about it last time we got together, how long ahead of time you'd have to order a truck.
5 to 7 years.
That doesn't even seem logical.
No, it doesn't.
And not knowing what the price is going to be at the end either.
Right. Strategic planning is a really big part of what your management team and what the board at Intercounty, that's the behind the scenes stuff that's going on that you don't always think about. But knowing which vehicles will need to be cycled out and trying to guesstimate what the price of those will be, makes for a tough job.
It really does. And one time maybe when we're doing our little get together, maybe we'll have maybe a different list of all the different things that Intercounty does and helps out with communities, but also the different aspects of Intercounty that people don't see, the office workers,
Right.
The auditorium, different things, the auctions that go on, and all the different things that have to be set up. They just don't happen.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are
Right.
always in transition, going from this job to this job to this job. They do different things, and it might just be maybe a little fun just to kind of maybe give those people a little salute, because I know that they do really great work and don't really get a lot of recognition for their work. I mean, hopefully for their fellow workers they do, but
Yeah.
I mean, which they are greatly appreciated, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But when
yeah.
it comes to all the radio interviews, it always seems the linemen get all the glory because they're out there in the storms and
Yeah.
they're doing all the work, or maybe it's those inter-county marketing people that get all the glory, But everybody really deserves a tip of the cap.
They do. It's a whole team effort, and it's easy to see. We say the linemen, they're the face of Intercounty, and they are, and we absolutely could not do what we do without them. But it is a team effort, and it takes somebody's got to give them the service order, the work order, to know what it is they need to be working on, and that has to be opened and closed. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I think the team, we really do appreciate each other. Inside workers, we understand that it takes the outside guys to be able to make this work, but the outside guys are very much appreciative of the inside workers that get that everything organized and together. And we try to, when we go and talk to the schools, career day, we've been doing a lot of career day. I say meeting, not really a meeting, but presentations. That's a time we really get to tell the kids, because same thing, Intercounty, lineman.
Yeah.
Or Intercounty, well, I don't want to be a lineman, so I'm not
Or
going
an
to go to
engineer,
that session.
maybe,
Right. But that's an opportunity we have to tell them, hey, we need IT people. We need accountants. We need communications people. There's a number of other jobs that oftentimes, when you think about the co-op, you don't always think about. And several years ago, one of our youth tour essay contest topics was, if you could have any job at the co-op, which job would you want to have? And the kids kind of researched in, and we had several kids tell us, I didn't think about working at the co-op. I wanted to be an accountant, but I didn't think about, they think accounting firm.
Sure, absolutely. Which is their first thought.
It is, absolutely. But the point is, we got to have a little bit of everything in order to make it all work. So,
well, you bill, you collect. That's accounting.
Right. That's accounting.
That's bookkeeping. So
Right.
have to do that. But also you have inventory control.
Right.
You have asset depreciation.
Yes.
you have constant change. Well, obviously valuation changes. It's somebody has to be on top of because of the markets that are out there. And in not just one county, you have got them everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of neat things,
A lot of reporting.
and I think that's really what I guess I'm trying to get to. This the Intercounty is just what I would consider myself a large co-op. It is a large co-op with the amount of people that are working with Intercounty, but they give you a small town feel. When you get that small town feel, you don't realize how many people are involved.
Yeah.
And you guys do a great job of making
thank you.
people feel comfortable in dealing with it. When you get into a high-rise building, you walk in the door and their cars are snooty.
Yeah. And hopefully
who are you
nobody-
here to see?
Right. And hopefully nobody ever feels that way when they...
We shouldn't. I've never had anybody not say, hi, how are you? How
Good.
can I help you?
Good.
Ever.
And that's the
with
way it should
Intercounty.
be.
Right. I don't think I ever have, except maybe you might have done it one time, but that would have been
Yeah,
it. Because, you're coming in here for about a year and a half, 2, 3, maybe 5.
A long time.
Well, yeah, maybe a little longer. But, it's just, and I don't mean to go off topic, but I just think these are the people at Intercounty that I sometimes think they're behind the scenes. They don't get the recognition, but they're so key to the operation of the co-op that we just should not overlook them, and sometime maybe just give them the whole slice of the pie on a show and just say, hey,
This is who
tell
we
us
got.
what you guys do. and let people know what you do and how much you are appreciated, because if you don't do it,
it falls apart.
well, it can,
Yeah.
And one of the other things, and I know you've been around Intercounty for about 3 years.
21 almost, yeah. 3, sure.
You're giving away your age. Well, at least not all of your age. But you know what I'm saying is there have been so many changes in their county. I mean, if you go back, well, I've been here 40. So if you go back to the old days where people went and read their meters and had to climb through especially summertime, where their meter is probably out in the middle of the field, 4 feet deep in thicket, trying to get there
sounding a little
to
extreme
read your,
there.
Well, I had to make it kind of
Uphill
tough.
both ways in the snow.
Well, it's the summertime, so it's
Okay.
hot, it's nasty.
Okay.
You've got snakes and chiggers and ticks and
Yeah.
beetles the size of your hand, and then you're crawling through all that just to take your readings and write them on the card so you can send the card back in.
Yeah, the perforated card. I remember those.
You remember those, see? And anyway, so we've come a long way from that, and it's just been a constant improvement where Intercounty has made things easier on their member. That
Right.
They don't have to go do that. They can check their own, excuse me, usage now on Smart Hub, different things of that nature. And of course, yes, you can still go read your meter. Nobody's saying you can. You don't have to go through the thicket to do it.
Yeah. And we do have members that'll tell us, hey, every now and then I check the reading on my meter and check it with Smart Hub. And I mean, we're not trying to hide anything.
No,
It's
no,
still,
no.
that's why the display's still on there. So you can go and read that and check it and compare it if you've got Smart Hub, or read it the day that you know the reading will be taken for your bill and compare it. That's perfectly fine.
Or if you see something odd about it, these meters do get hit by lightning, and occasionally they do get zinged. It does happen. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I actually had one years ago that got hit, and
It kind of messed it up, didn't it?
well, it kind of did. It kind of just, really,
Yeah.
it sped it up. And all of a sudden my bills were getting higher, and I didn't understand why. And it didn't seem like it was the right time of year to have a higher bill.
And they came and tested the meter, I'm sure.
We came and I called, and they said, well, we'll have to go test the meter. So we'll pull the meter off, we'll put a replacement on. And then when they did test it, they said, yeah, it had been compromised
Yeah.
with lightning. And I said, so what compromised it did? And whatever it did, I guess it helped speed up the wheel a little bit, maybe less friction on
Yeah.
it. I don't have any
So we've got a tool that we can use in the field to test the meter to see if it's operating at 100%, or if it was slower, it would be, obviously lower than that, 90s.
96%, yeah.
If it's above 100, then that's one that's reading fast. And what they would do then is, if it didn't pass that field test, then they would swap it out. They would send it off
Right.
to an independent testing company and have it tested.
And that's
then.
what they did.
Yeah.
And well, they didn't have that. I don't know if they had that tool back then, but
Yeah, they may not
Anyway,
have.
they just replaced it with a different meter, sent it off, came back, and said yes, it was compromised.
Yep.
And they did make a couple credits. So
Yeah. It doesn't-
based on my average bill.
That doesn't happen very often, but it
Oh,
has,
it
and
can.
it can. Yep, absolutely.
So everybody, it doesn't hurt to go read your meter every now and then, just to make sure. And if you see it spinning like a top and you don't have any air conditioning on or anything else on,
Something's probably wrong.
that's probably not doing a good job, especially if your bill seems high. But again, the changes in Intercounty that they have made over the last even 20 years, and I'm looking back to 40 years, they've really all done it to make it easier on their members.
Easier on our members, more efficient work processes. I mean, that's what allows us the extra time to be able to do these extra things that maybe we weren't able to do before. We've got Smart Hub now. That wasn't something we had before.
Sure.
But time to do things like Member Appreciation Day, our time in the office is freed up by these more efficient work processes, so we can do things like that, which is always good.
Which lets people see Intercounty out and about in their areas. Okay, so I'm done with my soapbox, but I just want to really take about the first 10 minutes of the show that we normally just jump right in and start talking about a topic that I really thought that these people and the investment Intercounty makes back into communities by these fairs, them being there, helping out people, Operation Roundup, all the different things that they do to give back. Let's tip our cap to them.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so I'm done.
He's tipped his cap.
Tip my cap. Okay, so now, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm going to just get the awful thing out of the way because I hate talking about it, but it seems like we have to talk about it all the time. Phone scams. I don't even, I hate to even say it because it's kind of boring to talk about now.
It really is.
But
they're coming up with such creative ways of doing it.
They are. And last month we had a couple of our members call in and report that they had received a scam call. Fortunately, they both recognized the fact that it was a scam call. One of the ladies was very hopeful that it was real, so she was calling back just to make sure. But it wasn't the typical, hey, you didn't pay your bill. We've got a serviceman on the way. He's going to go disconnect your power. You need to pay right now. This caller was identifying herself as someone with the co-op and offering a 15% discount on prepaid blocks of kilowatts.
Oh, that's a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, we're a co-op and we share savings when we get them. And
with a minimum purchase of $1,000.
I don't know what the minimum purchase was. Whatever they were claiming to sell, I promise you that's not all they would have taken out of their account. You know, if it's for $24.99, it would not have just been $24.99 taken out of their checking account.
$24,999.
As much as they could, as fast as they could, I'm sure. So we were very grateful that they didn't fall for that they were hesitant, that they called and let us know. But it's just worth mentioning because phone scams are not going away.
No.
Their tactics are changing. They're learning that our members know we're not going to call and bully someone over the phone to make a payment. Maybe they have Smart Hub now and they can really quickly look and say, I think I did actually pay my bill.
Yeah,
and they can pull that up.
Payment made. It says owed right now nothing.
Right. So their tactics are changing, but they're still trying to get your financial information. And you've just got to guard that. Intercounty, we're not the only ones that are being targeted. So you may get a call, somebody claiming to be with Intercounty, but you may get a call from somebody claiming to be with your propane company or with your bank or, just fill in the blank. Any business. They may call and claim to be someone they're not. They're trying to scam you out of your money. So be hesitant when they ask for that financial information. If you're giving out your debit or credit card numbers, your bank account numbers, once you hand that over, they've got it. And whatever it is they told you they were going to take and that you were going to get, that's not how it works.
And it's not going to be limited to what they said.
Right. So we're grateful those ladies that called in did not fall for that. We're hopeful that they didn't continue making calls and members fell for that. But just be leery. Don't give out your financial information over the phone. Most businesses, and I can't speak for all of them, but I'll tell you, Intercounty specifically, if you ever get a call from us, first of all, we're not going to ask you for your information over the phone. But if at any point you're hesitant and you feel like maybe this really isn't Intercounty, hang up and call us back at our number that you know is ours, not a number that
number
the caller gives you.
What was that number again? It slips my mind.
Our phone number?
Sure.
Our phone number is 866-621-3679.
There you go.
I'm sure they've all got that programmed in their phones. So
should be on
right?
the refrigerator, phone,
something.
Rolodex.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
But if you hang up and call that business back directly, they're going to understand. They're getting reports of scams on their behalf too. So you can politely say, hey, I would feel more comfortable if I just hung up. I'm going to call you right back.
I want to talk to this person with the 25% discount on my electric.
Yeah. And the one lady that called, 15%, but still, she called back and she's like, I'm hoping this is real, but I kind of feel like it's not. And she was right. That gut instinct was right. But it doesn't hurt to call and check. And guess what? She didn't give out her information.
Right.
She didn't lose out on a deal. She didn't get scammed. So just hang up, call that business back directly. if it was actually them, maybe you do business with a company that was having a promotional. If
Could
you
be.
call them back, you're not going to have missed out on
Right.
that just by calling them right back.
And occasionally, Intercounty will have a survey done by a phone company, and usually we try to announce that when we get together. That if
Right.
you get a phone call from Intercounty in the next 30 days, it's going to be concerning a service, or maybe they have some questions on that they want just you to answer. They're not going to ask for financial information.
Right.
They're not going to ask where you bank, how much money you have in your bank, and how often you would make a deposit in your bank.
Yeah. No,
That
none
has
of
nothing to
those
do
things.
with Intercounty.
None of those things. Yeah.
So,
And there's other, I mean, just imagine what scenarios they could come up with. Their
gosh.
stories are always going to change. And I think it's worth mentioning too, because last fall we had one of our members actually fall victim to this. And looking back, they can see there were several red flags, but they lost several $100s to a phone scam. They were told to go and purchase a prepaid card. Huge red flag in itself, but the threat of power being off at their small business
yeah.
on a 3-day weekend, they panicked and they went and purchased the card and then called that company back. Not
the number they
at the
gave.
number they gave. And once you give those gift card numbers, there's no way to track that, to trace it.
and no way to stop it.
Yeah. So if someone's asking for you to go and purchase a prepaid, preloadable gift card of any sort, most legitimate businesses, I don't know of any that would ask for that. I'm not going to say there's not any, because maybe there is, but we certainly are not.
Yeah.
We don't accept.
I don't know of
Payment that
anybody
way.
that would ever do that. Ask you to go get a card.
Well, that's what I'm like. I'm not sure, and I know we've had someone ask before they want to make a payment at Walmart, and make a payment. I guess at the service counter, maybe you can do
Okay.
money transfers, something like that. So, just if it sounds weird, it probably is weird. Hang up and call us back. And one of the things that the young couple had told us that did fall victim to one last fall, they said they even mentioned they knew someone that worked at the co-op, and well, I'll just call them and take care of it. And they said, oh no, you can't do that.
Well,
That's against the rule.
that's
They
not-
have to sign a paper when they go to work there that they can't conduct business with people that they know.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
That should be not just a little red flag.
Yeah.
That,
So
that should be the grand flag over top of the town waving.
Right.
Red,
Yeah.
red flag, red flag.
And it's tough when you're in the heat of it and they felt threatened that it was going to get turned off, and it's unfortunate that they fell for that. But I say all that just to warn you. You may think that you know better and that you won't fall victim to it, but intelligent young couple, business people, I mean,
These scammers are good.
the scammers are good.
They're
They
good.
are. They are. So
they
please,
are convincing. They will make you think, yes, this is the best offer you're going to get, and it's a one-time offer, and you can't get it again.
right. And we would like to think that maybe eventually these will die down, but unfortunately, the scams are working some of the time because they keep
They
doing
keep
it.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just guard that financial information. Don't give that out over the phone, especially if you don't initiate that call. Don't get
Yeah.
scammed.
You know, I remember last year when the hay was so short and we had that drought, and scammers start picking up on the hay, offering, knowing when farmers that had either ordered hay from somebody else and they were able to notice that or knew these people were farmers, and they would call them and say, yeah, we have an extra shipment of hay in.
Well,
And,
isn't that
and
clever?
we're going to be obviously in your area, and then just didn't know if you needed more hay, and we're going to be right there. We can just drop it off, and it'll only cost you X amount of dollars, but you have to have it paid for now before you send the truck in, which all makes sense.
Right.
We got to pay the truck to ship it in. So if we're going to be in your area anyway, I just thought you might want to buy a little extra hay.
Yeah. Man.
Hey, it wasn't that they sold you; they sold you a bag of goods,
Yeah.
and
Man.
some people got burned big time. And but they were very convincing. Hey,
Yeah.
we've got
They say
we're
all the right things.
yeah, exactly, and they know that if you have no hay and you're looking for it and searching for it, and the price of hay was, shooting up out of sight.
It's a good deal.
Hey, what a deal! If you're already going to be here, why not?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to be here.
Dang it.
And then people give them their credit card numbers and stuff. It's just,
Yeah. Protect that
yeah,
information. Don't be sharing
if
that.
you don't know who it is and you don't deal with them, don't.
Yeah.
It may sound like a great deal, and it might even be legitimate. Can't believe that it is. But even if it is, better to be safe than sorry. And when you do
Absolutely.
give out information like that, you can't get it back. And you don't know if they're recording it or if they have a third party on there that's listening in that's
Right.
taking that information.
And then they're not going to keep it to themselves. They're going to share that with other people too.
You
So
betcha they are.
it's a lot of work to change a bank account number too. So or credit card.
Bad enough with a credit card to get that. Mm-hmm. And don't use a debit card because it's gone.
Yeah.
Never get it back.
Gone.
Getting that back, that's extremely difficult.
I don't even know if you could.
Well, in some cases you can't. If they can trace it
Gotcha.
to an IP, that maybe it's on a computer or somebody's using their cell phone, they can track it to that phone, and then they can isolate the phone. It's pretty interesting how they can do some of that stuff with locations on their phone now, where they can actually go to where the phone is and they're calling.
Well,
It's pretty sneaky.
yeah, but happens when.
But they had to be using the phone to be doing that. So
Yeah.
anyway, and if they're smart, they're buying a burner phone.
Right.
And they'll get rid of it in a week or a day or 3
Yeah.
days. Just throw it away.
And if they're not from the U.S., then
No, you'll
you're
never
out
get
of
'em.
luck
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, you'll never get them.
Yeah.
The money's gone. All right. Well, that was just.
That was
a great
kinda
way to-
depressing.
I started the program out with a lot of good stuff, and then
I
you
know.
came right in and
We got to sandwich it in there
you
somewhere.
just chainsawed me at the knees. Okay.
Yeah.
let's just-
I didn't want to end on it.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea too. Anyway, don't fall for scammers. They're
Right.
out there.
Yep.
Very good.
I wanted to draw attention to something that was in our August Rural Missouri magazine. We were able to recently give almost $30,000 to the different backpack programs
Yes.
around in our area. And with school getting ready to start back up, I wanted to just remind everyone that there are programs at your local schools. We had ended up giving $1,500 to each of the 19 schools in our area that have a backpack program. When I say backpack program, I think most people know what I'm talking about. Each school kind of calls it, they have their own name for it. But this is the program that sends weekend food home with kids who maybe have food insecurities at home. Some programs, they're able to send a small amount of food home each evening for kids that maybe don't have dinner at home. It just breaks your heart to hear these stories, but I want to talk about it because we serve some amazing members. I mean, we talk about that when we talk about Roundup. We have 19,000 members that are rounding their bill up. They want to do good. And I know that the majority of our members do. A lot of times they just don't know where can I help or how can I help. These schools have these programs and they are volunteer based. They're donation based. If you want to help, if you're wanting to do something good, I would encourage you to reach out to your local school district and ask to get in touch with the contact person. Sometimes it's someone at the school. Sometimes there's outside organizations that take care of this, kind of like here in Salem. But they will not turn down help.
No.
If you want to volunteer, if you want to donate money, if you have a food drive and you want to donate food, the need is there. We were really grateful to be able to donate to these groups. It's part of each year we apply for a grant from CoBank, one of our lenders, and to Show Me Power, our power provider, also chips in, and then Intercounty, of course, we match what CoBank donates. And we have this money that then each year our board's able to take a look at and say, hey, which organizations in our area could use some help? We've given to food banks before. We've given to CASA. We've given to sheltered workshops, just any number of organizations. But this year they looked at these backpack programs for the local schools, and I think it was very timely. The cost of groceries, if you've done any grocery shopping, you know that you walk out with fewer things at a higher price.
One bag for $100.
So these groups that are trying to make sure kids have food over the weekend, they were all grateful. None of them complained about how hard it was, but it's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. And we want to, really salute all the organizations. I know we're talking about the one in Salem, and they have a get-together this Saturday to distribute a lot of different supplies. That one's coming through South Central Community Action Agency. And then in the afternoon, a lot of the churches have got together to have an extended back-to-school bash.
Okay.
Courthouse Square, more supplies, more
That's
backpacks,
wonderful.
more different things, free food from noon to 5. And then they have a memorial service or a dedication service, or just a get-together, have a good feeling service. It'll follow at 6:30. So a lot of back-to-school involvement this year, not only with your local schools, but also with your churches and just your community getting together.
And that's good.
And sending the kids back and getting them supplies they need. Schools can't afford everything, it's unfortunate, Heather, but I've seen teachers go out and buy the supplies for some of these students, and the teachers don't make that much money.
The teachers don't have it themselves.
They don't care. They want their students to learn.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll do without before their students will. Many of those teachers think that way. I know that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. That's an occupation that is a very specialized occupation.
Yeah, they've definitely got a passion for.
Yeah. So, well, first off, congratulations for Inter County. You're right. That is a fantastic organization. I remember when that got started, I thought it was a great idea, and a lot of the churches got that started. In our area. So that we appreciate all those involved with the Love Pack Backpack program. It's a great program, and thank you, Inter County, for your contribution. We always appreciate that, and again, kind of goes back to how we started the show. Community involvement.
It is, and that's what it's about. It really is. And we know our members are very community focused too, and kind of what you were just saying, what your community here in Salem's doing, it really drives that home. People do want to be a part of a community, and it's nice to be able to give back, and that's part of what makes us different as a co-op, because those things are important to us. Yeah.
Very good. Yay.
I know, right?
That's the good news.
It is good news.
That's good news. So, yeah. You're not going to hit me with another downer, are you?
No.
Okay.
So since we're talking about good news.
I was so afraid.
Up,
down, up.
A little bit of a roller coaster, huh? Well, last month, since we've been on the show last month, our cycle students came back from Jeff City.
They did.
They did, and they had a
Did
fantastic.
they all come back?
They all came back. We got them all back.
They're going to be legislators.
We got them all back. This was the first year we had the extra day. We sent them to St. Louis.
Yeah.
They spent the day at the City Museum, which some of the kids were familiar with that, and some of them were like, "Oh, museum! Like we're gonna go to a museum." We're like, guys, it's like a giant big kid playground.
It's like a giant pinball machine, and you're the pinball.
You're the pinball, yeah. So they spent the bulk of the day at the City Museum, and then the evening at Dave and Buster's, and kind of just got to have a fun day. But then it was back to business when they got back to Jeff City. And the kids this year. So one of the things that we talk about that they get to do, and I'll tell you, Stan, the kids aren't always super excited about this part. We tell them they get to work through the process of a bill becoming a law, and they get to sit on the House floor, and they're kind of like, okay. Like, this does not sound like fun during summer. But it's one of the biggest things that the kids talk about when they come back. And I think they realize how big of a deal, first of all, it is to actually get to go on the House floor.
Oh, yeah.
And then to sit at the seats of their representatives. And it becomes a bigger deal once they're there. And each year, it's up to them. They put together the bill that they're going to vote on and that they debate. And some years it's very lighthearted and it's fun and it's kind of just a goofy idea, but they still work through the process. The process is the same. This year, and I just want to, you talk about tipping your hat to people. I think youth today kind of have a bad rap for not being involved, not a lot of things, and always on their phone, and they don't care. And this group of kids, Stan, they outdid themselves. They proposed a law that would make adoption more affordable. It was very well thought out. There was a lot of passionate conversation that happened. The kids, they're good kids. They really are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would just want to say, there's hope. There is.
There's
But
a lot of good kids out there. It's
definitely.
just unfortunate that the bad ones get all the attention.
Right. And so that's why I want to just kind of brag on them today, because great group of kids, around 100 that were in Jeff City from across the state that went to cycle. They worked through the process of the bill becoming a law. They got that fun day. But they were presented Rachel's Challenge, which Rachel Joy Scott was one of the first students killed in the Columbine shooting years ago. And her family continues to kind of make presentations. And these kids come back and they're like, wow, I can come back and do good in my community. And so they kind of accept that challenge. And Casey Wolf, the Kansas City Chiefs mascot, has quite the interesting story. Highly energetic man, but nearly tragic life experience, and he shares that with them. And it's just kind of an eye-opening week for these kids. They get to hear from people and see things and do things that they wouldn't normally have during their summer vacation. So
the story behind the costume.
What's that?
The story behind the costume.
The story behind the costume. Yeah.
You know, we all mask things all the time. There's a story behind that guy gyrating and dancing around and stuff that you would never, ever assume that that's who that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was actually injured while in costume one time. And that's kind of what he talks about, his near-death experience from the work that he did, and how you can choose every day. You can choose to have joy, or you can choose to kind of be a dud. And it's good for these kids to hear that, especially from someone that they see and
see
it's
happy
not
all the time.
It's not their mom or dad telling them, you know, it's somebody that actually knows things.
Right.
So
right. It's a mascot. Everybody listens
it
to
is,
mascots,
right?
even though they're not allowed to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they're out of costume.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. So
Usually.
it's good. They had a good time. Hopefully we'll get some of these students that went when we're back in the schools after Christmas break. They'll be able to come pop in the classrooms and help us encourage this year's juniors to participate in the essay
Which
contest.
isn't far off.
It's not. We'll be talking about it before you know, because
yeah,
it's
we will be. You know we will be.
Yeah.
You can kind of bet the bottom
know.
dollar on that one.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
fine. That's one of the things I like talking about.
Well, we
so.
do like talking about it, and we had a very good response to it this year.
Mm-hmm.
We hope it's even better next year in February.
Right?
We would love every single junior to participate. We'd love
Absolutely.
that. I mean, we know that's not going to happen, but we would love to have that happen, and that would be great because there's nothing to lose.
There's
It's
not.
a very
And-
small amount of time that you have to invest. It's usually a kind of a fun topic, and I don't know what the topic's going to be this year, and I'm sure you haven't thought of it yet because I'm sure it's going to come from you.
I have a general idea.
You have a good thought in mind.
I've got 2 or 3 ideas jotted down. So
Wait. But it,
Yeah.
it really is. It's not that much of an effort to put forward for the reward that you can get.
yes, and something that students, you know, a year or 2 later that have gone on the trip, they come back and tell us, my senior year, I was able to put this down on my resumes, on my applications, and it helped them get scholarships and different things because you're wanting to stand out on those. If you're competing for a scholarship and you're having to show involvement and awards and things that you've done, to be able to list this, it's a big deal. And so, you know, the trip was amazing, either of the trips, and they had a great time, and they come back the next year and they talk to the kids after Christmas break and they're like, hey, you should do it, it's amazing. But then after graduation, they're like, hey, this continues to be amazing because now I got these scholarships, and one of the things I was able to put down different than the other people that were competing was that I went to DC, or that I won the leadership conference
Exactly.
experience. So it continues to help you in your future.
It continues to pay forward.
It does.
And that's one of the things, it's hard for a young person to understand the things that you do in school can open doors for you down the road because they don't look at it that way. And of course, they're in it. And we
Right.
always say it's easier to look at the forest from the outside. And when you're in the middle of the forest, look around, you see a bunch of trees. You're not thinking it's so beautiful and great. It's fantastic. You get on the outside, oh, isn't that a beautiful forest?
Yeah.
It sure is. Till you get in the middle of it, and then you can't find your way
A little
out.
lost.
And then you're not so thrilled about it. But all of us have gone through this as we grow up. We have opportunities. Every single opportunity you get is a door that you can open that can change your life one way or another. It could
That's
be
right.
a really good thing. It can be a really bad thing depending upon what you choose. And I think when you start talking about making a choice of filling out an essay, it's going to take you, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
20 minutes, half hour at most with a little bit of thought. And then possibly, now I'm not guaranteeing anything, so possibly being selected to go to D.C. or even Jeff City, then that opens up a different door,
Right.
And even when they go and do their interview over in Intercounty, that's opening up another door because, there's judges there that they may encounter later on,
Right.
2 or 3 years after, and those judges will remember you. If you stand out, they're going to remember you, and that could open even a different door.
Right.
And this is what I don't, and I'm not blaming the kids because they're not going to know this, but I think we lose track of that these youngsters growing up have the opportunity to make these decisions that affect their lives way further down, and that's what I'm always hoping the school tries to get across when they say this Intercounty junior-only essay is a great way to expand your horizons, open up a few doors, and maybe it won't, but maybe it will. And if it does open up a door to you, that's how people they live off the, I don't want to say the breaks that they get. It's the breaks that they make. Your choice.
Yeah. We had a student, it's been a couple of years ago, but she came in for her interview that Saturday. And she, of course, most of them are nervous wreck. For many of them, it's the first time they've ever been in an interview type setting. And she told us, she said, I have an interview for my first job that following week.
Oh, I thought it was going to be right after she
No,
left there.
no. The following week she was going to have an interview, and so she was so nervous, and she came out and she's like, "That's not that bad." And then later this summer, and I don't remember which trip she ended up winning, but when she was back in the office to be picked up to go to the trip, she said, "I nailed my interview." And I'm like, it kind of took me a minute. I'm like,
She got her job.
"What?" And she said, "I just want to tell you, I wasn't nervous in my job interview because I knew it wouldn't be that bad." And I'm like, there's experiences that they have through this process
Sure.
that are going to help them
Sure.
in the future.
Sure. And, it was kind of funny because yesterday Great Rivers Engineering was here, and they brought an intern in from high school. And the kid was nervous. I mean, he's in front of commissioners and stuff,
Yeah.
and the media is there. And he's like, and all that they really had him do is hand out some stuff. But he got to hear the conversation, the
Right.
questions that are being answered, and how it's being addressed. And so I had a chance to ask him because I met up with those guys afterwards, and I said, "So what did you think of the meeting?" He goes, "Not what I anticipated."
Yeah.
He said, "I just anticipated we would do the presentation and they would just sit there and I said, be like bobbleheads, just
Yeah.
just up and down." He said, "Well, kind of." He goes, "But then, and they start asking questions," and he goes, "I kind of felt this tingle." He goes, "I didn't have those answers." Well, you're an intern. You
Right.
would not have the answers. But Austin, the guy he was with, did.
Right.
And he said, just teaches you have to be prepared. Well, okay, if that one instance has taught that young man
Yeah.
anything,
Just exposure to those situations.
Exactly.
It's good for those kids. And that's part of why we send them out to DC and we send them to Jeff City, because it's an exposure to something that they're not going to otherwise have
Right.
in most cases. And it does kind of open the horizon, kind of just, oh, there's more than Dent County. There's
Yeah.
more than
Oh,
Texas
yeah.
County. Like, I could do big things. and maybe it's not as scary as what I thought it might be. And there's a lot of doors opened, and it's a great program, and it's another way that we can kind of support area youth. And I'm grateful that our board has such a large scale youth tour program in comparison to other co-ops in Missouri. So
You said that.
it's good. It's
All right.
very good.
Yeah, we're not doing youth tour yet.
No,
We just did, but
we
we're
just
not doing
did.
it. But it's a great program.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Capital credit list.
I like capital credit lists,
So
especially if I'm not on it, because that means I'm getting my capital credit.
that means you're getting it already. So we published a list back in June in the magazine. Those are unclaimed capital credit checks from 2 years ago, and
Right.
those are getting ready to expire. So if you have not already looked at the list, you don't have to go try to find your June magazine. You can get on our website, IECA.coop, COOP. The list is on there. They're alphabetized by last name. Scroll through there. Chances are, if you're a current member, your name's not going to be on there because it's more than likely we have your current address, unless maybe you're paperless billing and it changed, and I don't know. Anyway, more than likely, if you're a current member, you're
That's
not
a
going to
new
be
one
on there.
me.
But if you can help us look through there, if you recognize a name of someone that you can get in contact with, just tell them to call the office. We'll update their address. Also, if you recognize a name of a family member that is deceased, I want to point out that those capital credits are still eligible to be claimed by surviving family members. There is a one-page, just a one-sheet affidavit.
It's very simple.
Excuse me. Yes, it is very simple, but those credits can go back to surviving family
Sure,
members.
and it doesn't take much. And you can request that just by calling the office, and they can send that. They can fax it to you. They can email it to you. They can mail it to you, old-fashioned snail mail way. We'll have stamp and letter.
Yeah, we can.
You can all be done that
We'll get
way.
it to you.
And then once you get it, just fill out and then make sure you put in there and make sure you sign it.
Yeah, that's important.
Kind of important thing. But meant how you want to divide it up. If you want to divide it up, and if you don't want to divide it up, who does go to?
Yeah. Yep. But just to point out that they are still those, the family is eligible to claim those. A lot of times I think people think, oh, because mom passed, now they're just gone. But that's not the case. Those can still go to family members.
So their address where mom or dad
Mm-hmm.
had lived is probably not going to be an active address anymore, and that's why they're on the capital credit list.
Right. Or the post office has returned it because they know that person doesn't live there anymore. You know, maybe someone else does.
I don't see the post office returning much anymore. They just send it right to that address, whoever is there, and and then a lot of times you put on there does not live here and send
Put it back. You get it back anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, try and help out. Those capital credits, you earned them.
Yeah.
By gosh, they're yours.
Absolutely. So if you're not familiar with what capital credits are, and sometimes some of our newer members don't understand what we're talking about when we talk about capital credits
They're
because
not
they're on
seeing that money
they're
come
on a
back yet.
cycle. Yeah, you're not seeing that money yet. But capital credits, so we talk about co-ops being different. A co-op is a not-for-profit organization. We're owned by our members. So this year, if we make more than what we needed to operate, that excess, that margin, is divided among our current members, and it's based on their total usage as compared to the overall usage. So if you live in a home that uses more kilowatt hours than mine, your portion of those margins is going to be higher than mine because
Sure.
you paid more in that year.
Understandable.
The disconnect happens when you're a first-year member and it takes 20 years to get your first check, which sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not.
No, it's patience.
And the reason for that, we have a lot of people ask, why does it take so long? Well, the first year Intercounty operated, we didn't have the excess margin to be able to pay it back because we were growing.
Well,
we were
sure.
expanding. So in those really early years, that excess margin wasn't returned. It was used to reinvest in the co-op and grow
help it
the
grow.
lines and build out to further counties and down private lanes and all of those places that now have power. So it took a couple of decades to get
sure.
the system to where it needed to be before they could say, okay, now let's start returning these.
And it doesn't change today.
It doesn't
does the same
change.
thing. We already talked earlier about the truck. Okay, 5 to 7 years if you order today to get the truck. They may say it's $500,000 for that truck today. 5 or 7 years down the road, it may be $700,000.
Right.
So where'd that money come from? Those capital credits
Right.
that were withheld. They could pay for the new truck, and you continue to have service, and you continue to have lights in the morning when you turn on the light switch.
Yeah. And it helps us keep our rates low. So, we've had members ask us, well, now that you're mostly built to, unless there's someone new building a service, why can't you just pay back all 20 years worth of those right now? Well, if we did that, we would have to take out massive loans, and then we're paying interest, and then our costs are higher, and then that's reflected in the rates. So being able to use those margins have helped us keep those rates low, and you'll get the check eventually. And I know that's not encouraging when you're like, hey, but I could use it now.
Right.
We understand that, but we're managing it wisely. We talk about the stuff that goes on behind scenes. That's something our accounting department, there's a lot of thought. There's a lot of reporting, a lot of strategic planning with the money that comes in, and how do we pay everything we need to pay, and how do we keep our margins where we need them, and how do we where do we set our rates?
Sure.
There's just a lot that goes into that. So that's what capital credits are. We do keep track of those. So if you're a member this year, maybe this one and only year, and then you move. When we pay out capital credits from 2024, no matter where you live, we will send you that. You don't have to still be a member.
Right.
We just need to
Have your address.
have your address, or else your name's going to be on that list, and we're going to be like, hey, if anybody knows these people.
In 2044, remember, make sure that address is within her county so you can
Yeah.
get that 18-cent check.
Yeah. Hopefully it's more than that.
No, but and one of the things we were talking about earlier, we were talking about all the different things that Intercounty has to offer, and you were talking about the accountants. When you have to plan, let's just say there's a stretch of line that's been there for 40 years or 50 years. It's starting to deteriorate. The poles are getting bad. Maybe they've had some damage from weather, maybe a car accident, and all the lines need to be replaced. Well, I can guarantee you with certainty that the line price today that you're paying for that line is not going to be the same as it was 40 years ago, nor will the pole price. Gosh, I remember when we used to get poles here in the city, used to get them for $20 to $30 a pole.
Yeah.
Well, they're like $400 now or something like that.
I was going to say, you're missing a zero.
Yeah, like $400 now,
Yeah.
like a pole. So times have changed, guys. And when the county department start putting a budget together, but also you have to sit down with strategic planners, there are areas of Intercounty that have been around since well way back before the war when they started putting it all up. In some cases, wow, some of those areas have to be replaced. And when they do, it is a costly adventure. So that's where those capital credits go, and that reinvestment goes back into that. So they can do that without coming to the members and saying, we just ran a new line to your house. Let's see, it's going to
We
cost
need
you
$16,000.
$15,607.03. And you're gulping.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll shut your lights off then.
Yeah. No, we
No,
won't.
that's not what they do. But I'm just saying, if you
We
didn't
don't have
hold,
to do that
right,
because
if you didn't hold the
yeah.
capital credits, that's what would have to happen. So, I'd rather you hold on to money.
Yeah, we'll get it back to you, just kind of on a cycle. But it's hard to understand when you are a newer member and you haven't got one yet.
Right.
But then you get that allocation notice in the mail every year that says, hey, when we do get around to paying them, here's what your portion was. And sometimes that can be confusing. So
That's a teaser.
it is
Just think, if you got this check, this would be yours today, but you're not qualified yet.
yeah.
You haven't been with
Yeah.
us 20 years.
But it's a way for us to just be transparent with our members. Hey, this is how much was allocated based on your usage this past year. And any time as a member, if you ever have any questions about the co-op, whether they're to do with something you get in the mail, like that allocation notice, or something you've heard us talk about on the radio, please call our office, because we'll get you to the right person that can answer your questions and have a conversation with you so you do get it, because this is your co-op.
Yep.
And if you've got questions, call us and let us know so we can get those answered.
Very good.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else.
I don't think I do either. Just be safe.
It's too early to talk about fall.
Too early for fall.
We already know about summer. It's
Yep.
wrapping up quickly. So
Yeah. So
I am out of information unless you have some interesting tidbit to still pass on to us.
nope. Just make sure this. I don't know when you guys head back to school over here, but
23rd, first. I think.
Yep. Same with Licking.
Yeah.
Just be. This has nothing to do with the co-op, but just know there's going to be more kids out on the road. There's going to be kids at bus stops. There's going to be buses stopping. Give yourself a little bit of extra time to get to where you're going. Don't be in such a hurry. Those kids are going to be out there.
Yep, they will be. They will definitely be out there. And watch for them driving, too, when they're leaving the high school, as their mind is not always on driving.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Just
takes a community. We've all got to.
from previous experience.
Yep. So just be mindful. Be thinking about those kids, parents. It's a busy time, exciting time.
It is.
So,
It is.
so I say congratulations, not really congratulations, but
For the parents to have their
for
children
the
go back to
parents,
school.
maybe, depending on who you are. But, hopefully everybody has a good year, teachers, students, staff at the schools.
Yeah, we wish the best for all schools.
And
in
if
the area.
if we can help in any way, if there's presentations or anything that we can help with and support the schools and those kids, please reach out to us and let us know.
Heather, as always, we
Yeah.
appreciate it. Heather has work to do today. She has
do.
Roundup, and so I know it's something that she just bears, but it is one of her favorite parts of her job. So we look forward to having you do your incredible work with Roundup and the entire Roundup staff that does all the great investigations. And again, tip of our cap to them. That's another way they put back in the community, and they meet every second Tuesday of the month.
Yep.
After they listen to this program, then they get together, and then they're able to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure this program has anything to do with
We're
that.
we're gonna
but-
say they listen
Yeah,
anyway.
there you go. And hopefully they do. I'm sure the ones in Mountain Grove are streaming with us right now. So
Yeah.
there we go. Well, we do want to thank Heather for coming by. Our friends
Thank
in Minot
you.
County are here every second Tuesday, as we mentioned, at 8:30. We talk a little bit about what they do and things that they offer. And today was a nice little potpourri of thank yous
Yeah.
and acknowledgments and appreciations and everything else. So a little bit of everything today.
Absolutely.
Gosh, it was wonderful.
It was.
You can go home with a
Yeah.
feather in your cap saying,
Okay.
look what we have done. Tell them all back there that Denton County loves them. So there you
I
go.
will.
All right, very good. Again, we appreciate Heather coming in right here at KSMO Radio, your hometown radio station. We've got some civic happenings on the way in just a moment. Keep it right here on KSMO, your hometown radio source.
Playing your favorites. KS